Cardano shall rise once again. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we are going to be talking about in this video. If you are an ADA holder, you are going to enjoy this one because we're essentially going to be telling you why it is our technical assessment that Cardano is about to go up in price, or why the ADA token is about to go up in price. We're going to be looking at where Cardano currently is today and what's to come for it. And it leads us to believe that Cardano, just like the space generally, is about to enter a bull market. The likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, and some of the other altcoins out there are already well and truly in uptrends, bull markets. Cardano and some of the other altcoins are still very much basing, being accumulated, ready for that uptrend, which we do think is to come. Now, before we dive into everything, we've got some really interesting things to show you guys. I'm going to start off by just giving you my opinion on ADA right now. So those of you that have followed me for 5+ years will know that Cardano was one of my largest positions. It was a position that literally went from 6 or 7 cents all the way up to $3 for us. Going into the last bull market, we threw out a price prediction of, we thought it could have got to around about $5 to $7. There wasn't any technical patterns for that. However, that's just where we thought it could get based on market cap. That was a mistake that I made that I will not be doing again. You guys that follow me regularly will know that we only give predictions based on what is technically plausible. And actually, Cardano in the prior bull market did have a technical pattern. We weren't just technically as savvy as we are today to spot it. And you can see this inverse head and shoulders very much predicted what would have been a good time to get out in regards to hindsight. And we are waiting today. Cardano, first off, straight off the bat, very much just rinse and repeating what we saw in 2019, 2020 in the back end, or 2023 and 2024. Ultimately, and this is going to lead to a kind of repeat to what we've previously saw. However, it's my own opinion. Cardano was one of my largest holdings. It's no longer one. I still run a Cardano stake pool. ALLIN is the ticker, and we are going to look to get involved with the DREP side of things. So do become, we'll look to maybe create a community around that. I personally believe, this is only my opinion, that Cardano isn't going to be one of the best performing crypto assets within this cycle. However, where I want to start the video off is by talking about the longer term trajectory. And when I say this cycle, I mean potentially what we're about to go into in October, up until potentially the latter half of 2025. The 4-year cycle playing out, the bull market's playing out, all these cycles playing. We speak about the macro reasons why this is going to take place daily on the channel. I don't think Cardano is going to be one of the better performers there. This isn't FUD, just my own opinion. And I'll tell you why. Okay? When the layoffs paper was released, I was somewhat disappointed. Because what the layoffs paper outlined were ways for Cardano to scale and do a couple of other things, but predominantly scale due to a multi-pronged approach, looking at concepts that were, some of them, spoken about in Charles Hoskinson's 2015 white paper video. Spoke about multiple things, input endorsers, all of these things, side chains, and essentially layoffs set forward the groundwork for those things to then be voted on post-Chang, ni hao everyone, post-Chang, and ultimately then be funded and then worked on and put in place. Now, the runway for that may take quite a period of a time. And I think right now, if you look at where some other cryptocurrencies are at, they're more scalable, they're cheaper, they have greater partnerships, they have higher TVL in terms of actual projects building. And I think they are in a better position for this bull market. Some of them newer, fresher, the hype's there. However, that's just this bull market. I think, and what this video is solely about, really, is the fact that Cardano is going to go up in price and likely see a bull market, or will see a bull market, in my opinion. Remember, this isn't financial advice, no guarantees. In line with the rest of the market and what it's about to do. I just don't think it's going to be one of the best performers. But if all of those things that are in layoffs get voted on by the community, it all moves in the manner that people are expecting it to, okay, the runway for that might be 12 months, however many months out. Once it's done that, Cardano then becomes in a pretty unbelievable position. Of course, we just mentioned Chang. Chang is obviously live now. Expect chaos. I took part in the Polkadot governance, OpenGov. I've taken part in many open governances. There's going to be heartbreaks, guys. It's going to be a bumpy ride. There's going to be outrage. There's going to be a whole list of things. But this is part of forming a kind of a decentralized constitution, if you will, or a decentralized government. It's always going to be an interesting journey, and it's one that I'm excited to sort of watch. So to wrap things up and to also show you some technical merit on why I believe this, and we'll bring up Bitcoin dominance and ADA BTC, is I don't think this bull market is ADA's time to shine. I think potentially the next one is. Or sort of after this bull market, ADA will likely do rather well. This is ADA BTC. You've got BTC BTC dominance very much doing a similar thing, just to show you this. What is very likely going to happen, in my opinion, is BTC dominance is going to roll. We can take up the 30 weekly moving average, really get rid of volume. So this is going to start to roll, start to top out here. This is going to be your bull market. Remember, the bull markets, ladies and gentlemen, typically take place 215 days post-halving. And the altcoin market, or the markets generally, are where ADA is today. You know, they've typically, Bitcoin leads, but the altcoin market, it's sort of where we are in regards to the halving stay, typically in this sort of basing phase, which is exactly where ADA is today. You know, ADA will rise again, guys. I just don't think that its time comes until the next sort of after this bull, in my opinion. And that would coincide with, I think, a lot of the development sort of coming to fruition. Cardano always gets clowned for being a more of a tortoise-style blockchain. I think that will be their strength in the longer term. And one thing that you can't deny about Cardano is in regards to a community, wow, you've only got to be on any social media platform. You know, we get some of the most viewed Cardano content out there. We don't cover it as regularly as we used to because we cover such a breadth of cryptocurrency projects, but it's still one that we're zealously watching and we're interested in and looking to support in whatever way we can. Just because we said we don't think it will perform as well as others, that doesn't mean that that's going to be an indefinite thing. So I think with BTC DOM coming down, you're going to see ADA DOM or ADA BTC start to gain some support. However, I don't think that this is going to potentially see new all-time highs. I think this is going to top short and potentially then set up some sort of broader continuation, which is going to align with Bitcoin dominance doing a similar thing, which unfortunately I don't think is going to coincide within this sort of cycle, if you will. So I think this is going to come down, likely do something like this, and then potentially go all the way down to 20% as the space matures. And that is where ADA might have, this is really way out now, we're talking years times. I think Cardano might come into his own. So I don't personally believe that Cardano is going to be one of the best performing assets in this bull market that I think we're now in. And the altcoin market is still very much where it should be in relation to the sort of halving cycles. Ready for that upside. Again, let's just take a look at that, sort of go back a little bit. You know, Bitcoin and a few others are really the anomalies here in regards to where they are or where they went pre-halving due to institutional involvement. The altcoin space, for example, and we'll look at Ethereum in just a second. Let's throw ETH on here. If you look at where ETH was sort of at the halving, it's typically down here, which is where essentially Cardano is today. And I think there's a lot of similarities between, this is Ethereum on the bottom here in 2019, 2020, and Cardano. And we all know what happened with Ethereum after this. I think Cardano is about to embark on a similar journey. That's in line with the space more broadly. How far Cardano could get, I'm not 100% sure, but generally the space is where it should be. And once Bitcoin turns around, that's when you're going to see that Bitcoin dominance roll and ultimately see Cardano really start to pick its feet up. I think this is very much, this is not such a negative sign. This pullback has just largely been led by Bitcoin, although people will attach whatever kind of parameters to it they want to. Ultimately, once Bitcoin resumes, your altcoin market will really come into its own, and Cardano is absolutely going to be a part of that. We like to teach phase analysis in our market mastery course. It dictates that the markets move in sort of 4 phases. Those of you that are familiar with the Wall Street cheat sheet, even though it seems very gimmicky, actually it's quite good in regards to a schematic of a traditional market cycle. And of course, it attaches emotions to it. This, for me, is really the disbelief phase for Cardano, and you've ultimately got the sort of upside to come for it, if you will, or the rest of the cycle to play out, phase 2, in our opinion. That's going to coincide with Bitcoin sort of rearing its head. So the longer term trajectory of Cardano, we're really, really very positive on in regards to watching ADA BTC. This is going to be something that we're going to be talking about well into the future, and BTC Dom, because I do think BTC dominance is really going to lose a lot of traction. I'm just not convinced that that's going to happen this cycle. I think you'll see things play out in a coordinated manner, or a traditional manner, and then in the future cycles, when Cardano starts to roll out some of these things and really come into its own. And remember, it only takes one major announcement or partnership or use case to really turn the tables. I'm talking about as I view it currently. However, despite Cardano not potentially going to be one of the best performers in this sort of bull, I do think it's going to perform well. How high is it likely to go? Well, I'm really looking for some sort of a technical pattern to take us there. For me, key levels of significance that I'm watching out for is here, around about your $1.25 mark. It could do something similar to Bitcoin. Let's pull up the BTC chart. Bitcoin, I'm sure those of you that follow me regularly know this is what we were essentially looking for. Obviously, you had a small pattern here. We don't have a pattern like that for ADA at the moment. A breakout into phase 2, which we think Cardano is still to come for ADA, and then it set up continuation, off the $48,000 mark. That ultimately has given us that $151,000 price prediction for Bitcoin. This is potentially something that I'm looking for with ADA. Maybe it does something like this, wants to interact with that, and then we can sort of predict. Maybe we do eventually, and I would certainly be late to the party on calling for this, get that sort of $7 ADA price. Ifs, buts, and maybes at the moment, and we're not really sure where the price of Cardano is going to get to this bull market. I think anybody that gives you that is guessing, just like I did in the last bull. Yeah, okay, we went from cents to $3, but we didn't quite nail that, and that was because we were largely guessing based on market cap and where we thought things could get to, not technically, which you can see has a far more degree or higher degree of accuracy. So for a Cardano price prediction, we're really going to wait to see if there's any technical patterns that can give us that price prediction. What I can say is that Cardano is not going to be a part of this bull market. It's likely going to do well, all-time highs, potentially above and beyond. And we're seeing not such negative signs, in regards to how markets move, where Cardano is. It's kind of in that disbelief phase, if you will. And ultimately, we think that sort of next leg up is to come for ADA, and it's going to it's definitely going to be a part of this bull market. It's got an amazing community. There are some amazing projects building on it. We're really excited to get Hydra. Some people from Hydra on sort of talk to us about that. I just, again, to really stress this, because it seems like I'm footing the project. I'm not, I just think that there's projects out there that are going to do more, and that's where my positioning is. And then maybe I can pivot that back into ADA if it does. If we get that broader pattern for ADA BTC and BTC dominance, then we can sort of look to get back into ADA in a big way. Regardless of all that, we're going to continue to support the network. We've been running a stake pool now for nearly 4 years. We're going to continue to do so, and we're going to continue to cover this project and ultimately look for those technical patterns that are going to be able to give us price predictions. What we can predict at the moment is that ADA is about to go into an uptrend along with the market and rise once again. So that is it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this content as much as I did. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. See you all in the next one.